Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It was supposed to be just another quiet afternoon in Flagstaff, the kind that blended into the background of Sister Wives Season 20 filming, until a storm erupted so suddenly, so viciously, that not even the TLC production crew could hide behind their lenses. Kody Brown and Robyn, long believed to be the tightest duo left standing in the wreckage of a once unified plural family, unleashed a verbal firestorm so intense it shattered every illusion that their bond was unbreakable. It began in the middle of what was supposed to be a logistics meeting about the latest redivision of the infamous Kody Pass property, already a source of relentless tension, but quickly devolved into an emotionally charged explosion that no one could have predicted. Kody, visibly agitated, had been pacing the dirt lot with furrowed brows and arms flailing, while Robyn stood stiffly, arms crossed, refusing to budge on a particular issue involving land ownership, finances, and, according to one mic'd up crew member, an unapproved bank transfer involving Robyn's name on an account originally created for all the wives. As cameras rolled, Kody's voice climbed, his anger boiling to the surface in a way rarely seen outside the privacy of their home. "You told me that was for emergencies only, Robyn," he barked, face flushed, sweat beading on his temples. Robyn snapped back, "And this is an emergency. You can't see past your ego long enough to protect what's left of this family." The air crackled with tension. Crew members glanced at each other nervously. Some even lowered their cameras for a second, unsure if what they were capturing crossed an ethical line. But the cameras went back up quickly when Kody slammed his truck door shut with a force that echoed across the dry, dusty land. That sound seemed to flip a switch in Robyn. She stepped forward, inches from his face, her eyes filled with fury and something else, betrayal. "You think this is all about money?" she yelled. "This is about how you treat me. How you've changed. You're not the man I married. You're obsessed with control." That word, control, seemed to detonate something deep inside Kody. His face twisted, contorted with disbelief and rage. "Control? Control? Are you kidding me, Robyn? I gave up everything for you. I burned bridges with Mary, with Janelle, with Christine for you. And now I'm being called controlling?" His voice cracked, and suddenly, it was more than just rage. It was desperation. But Robyn didn't flinch. She threw her arms in the air, her voice trembling now, not just with anger, but heartbreak. "You didn't burn those bridges for me. You burned them because you wanted loyalty and submission. You didn't choose us. You chose power." Her words echoed like a gunshot across the land. Silence followed for a brief, heavy moment before Kody turned to the camera crew, his voice low and venomous. "Turn that thing off." But the cameras didn't stop. TLC knew they had lightning in a bottle. This was no longer just a show about plural marriage. It was the unraveling of the last functioning strand in the Brown family web. Just then, Robyn did something no one expected. She removed her mic pack, dropped it on the ground, and walked away from Kody in a blur of tears, her voice barely audible as she muttered, "I should have listened to Christine." Kody stood frozen. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled, stunned. Some crew members had been with the Browns for over a decade. Never had they witnessed this. And that's when the rest of the family began arriving one by one, drawn by texts, phone calls, and the sheer volume of the argument echoing across the property. Janelle arrived first, arms folded, eyes narrowed, lips pursed as she watched the two combust from a safe distance. "This isn't shocking," she said flatly, almost as if she'd been waiting for this moment. It was only a matter of time. Mary followed, speechless, biting her lip, visibly shaken. And then came Christine, with David Woolley by her side, looking every bit the confident woman who had escaped this chaos long ago. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. The look in her eyes said it all. "Now you understand why I left." The family stood in stunned silence as Kody, visibly unraveling, shouted into the empty desert air. "I gave everything to this family. And you all left." But no one responded. Because in that moment, no one believed him anymore. Even Robyn, once the fiercely loyal defender of Kody's every decision, had turned her back. As she disappeared behind the wheel of her car and drove off without looking back, it was clear. This wasn't a fight. This was a fracture. One that couldn't be mended with a family therapy session or a TLC retreat. This was the implosion everyone feared, but no one expected to see on camera. The footage was later leaked online in a low-quality clip that went viral in minutes. Kody and Robyn scream at each other in shocking footage. The headline read, and the internet devoured every second of it. Sister Wives fans who had long suspected Robyn wasn't as submissive as she pretended celebrated her standing up to Kody. Others felt heartbroken, watching what appeared to be the final nail in the coffin of the Brown family unity. Kody didn't release a statement. Robyn refused to be filmed for days. TLC went into emergency meetings. But one thing was clear. Whatever peace remained had gone up in flames. Kody Brown and Robyn's explosive argument was no longer just a private matter. It had become a public unraveling of their image, their love, and perhaps even their future. The family was left in total shock, not because they hadn't seen the red flags, but because they'd finally watched the last House of Cards collapse, and it was all caught on camera. But the chaos didn't end when Robyn drove away. In fact, that was only the beginning of the aftershocks that rattled every corner of the Brown family dynamic. As Kody stood alone at the Coyote Pass site, breathing heavily, dust swirling around his boots like the debris of a destroyed empire, the weight of everything came crashing down on him. His hands trembled, not just from rage, but from sheer disbelief that the one woman who'd once been his anchor had now turned on him in front of the world. His eyes scanned the gathering crowd of ex-wives and adult children, most of whom didn't speak, though their expressions said it all. "We told you so." The silence that fell after the screaming had stopped was deafening. The cameras, still rolling, captured a man unraveling in real time, a father, a husband, and a self-proclaimed patriarch who no longer had control over anything. Garrison's name came up quickly, as Janelle, whose pain simmered just below the surface, whispered sharply to Kody, "You should be grieving your son, not screaming at Robyn over money." That hit hard and visibly. Kody's face crumpled for a second, and his voice, when it returned, was hoarse and broken. "Don't you dare." But it was too late. The air had shifted. No longer was this just about Coyote Pass or secret financial decisions or Robyn being labeled the favorite. This was about years, decades, of resentment, blame, and unresolved grief, bubbling up like lava from beneath a cracked emotional surface. Christine, ever the tactful one, tried to lead the group away, murmuring, "Let's give them space," but the cameras followed, locked onto every eye roll, every scoff, every muttered word of disbelief. Even Hunter, who rarely appeared on camera anymore, showed up, telling producers off-record that he only came to make sure Mom wasn't getting thrown under the bus again. Meanwhile, TLC executives scrambled behind the scenes. This wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. And it wasn't safe. Legal teams debated whether parts of the footage could even be aired, but the decision had already been made by the viral clip circulating on TikTok and Reddit. The footage of Kody screaming, "I gave up everything," while Robyn countered with, "You destroyed everything," was already part of pop culture lore. Fans clipped it, re-edited it, and captioned it with lines like, "When gaslighting your last wife doesn't go as planned." But back in Flagstaff, the drama was all too real. Robyn went dark, literally. Her social media was deleted within hours of the argument airing. Her sister, Aurora, made cryptic posts about truth finally coming to light, while Brianna reportedly locked herself in her room, refusing to film or speak to production. TLC's crew was placed on temporary hiatus, as several insiders reported that Robyn threatened to quit the show entirely unless editing was fair and honest. Kody, meanwhile, spiraled. Sources close to the set said he spent 3 days alone in an RV parked at Coyote Pass. No calls, no contact, just him and his thoughts. Producers who went to check on him were turned away. "I've lost my family," he reportedly said through the RV door. "I lost my damn family." But for many of the Brown kids, especially the older ones, the fight finally vindicated everything they'd been trying to explain for years. Logan, Maddie, and Gwendolyn all reportedly sent private messages of support to Christine and Janelle, with one insider revealing that the adult kids finally feel seen. They've been watching Robyn be put on a pedestal while the rest of the family was left to rot. Even Michael T., once seen as more neutral, allegedly commented in a group chat, "They always looked happy from the outside, but I knew it was all performance." Mary, for her part, remained the enigma. While she didn't say much during the fight, cameras caught her mouthing the words "about time" as Robyn stormed away. And later that night, she posted a cryptic Instagram story, a black screen with a single line of white text: "Loyalty doesn't look like silence when someone is hurting." Fans erupted. Was Mary calling out Robyn for staying quiet during her suffering years ago? Or was she calling out Kody for turning on the woman he claimed was his soulmate? Either way, the narrative had changed forever. The once impenetrable Kody and Robyn unit was now fractured, and the world had seen it unfold in raw, unfiltered, explosive clarity. And now the big question hovered over Flagstaff like a cloud heavy with rain. What happens next? Would Robyn leave? Could Kody survive the backlash? Would TLC finally pull the plug on the show that had gone from family values to a televised implosion? And most importantly, was this the moment the Brown family would finally face their truths? Not in interviews, not in confessionals, but in real life, under a scorching Arizona sun, with cameras rolling and decades of hurt bleeding out into the open? One thing was certain. After this argument, nothing would ever be the same again. But while the cameras captured the physical walkaway, what they couldn't fully record, what only those present truly felt, was the emotional fallout, a ripple effect of betrayal, trauma, and suppressed rage that had been simmering for years. Kody Brown, for so long the orchestrator of the Brown family's plural structure, stood at the center of the chaos not as the strong, righteous patriarch he once claimed to be, but as a fractured man who had alienated every branch of his family tree. The fight with Robyn wasn't just a marital spat, it was the symbolic collapse of the entire empire he had built around himself. And even Robyn, the so-called favorite, the woman who had been seen as the protected queen of Kody's fractured kingdom, had finally snapped, and on camera, no less. The fallout reached production headquarters like a siren blast. Executives began drafting emergency contingency plans. Some staff whispered about cancellation, while others buzzed with the dangerous possibility of spinning the argument into an entire new direction for the show, one where secrets, finances, and family wars were laid bare with no more filters. A raw docuseries, a redemption arc, a televised family therapy special. Anything was now possible. But back on the ground in Flagstaff, the Brown children were reeling. Solomon and Ariella, Kody and Robyn's youngest kids, had reportedly been pulled from filming altogether in the days after the argument. Sources said they were confused, scared, and asking too many questions about why mommy was crying and why daddy kept pacing the backyard. Meanwhile, Christine's daughter Isabel allegedly broke down after watching the leaked footage, telling close friends that she now understood why her mom never stopped looking over her shoulder when it came to Kody and Robyn. Even Gabriel and Garrison, whose relationships with Kody were already strained to the point of silence, allegedly messaged Janelle with a simple but devastating reaction: "We told you he'd blow it up eventually." And yet, despite the pain, there was something liberating about the explosion. For years, the Brown family operated behind a veil of spiritual values, unity, and sacrifice. But all of that had been eroding for a long time. What the cameras had captured wasn't just a marital argument. It was the truth, the hard, messy, unscripted reality of what happens when one man tries to control too many hearts and fails to listen to any of them. Robyn's anger, often silenced under the guise of loyalty, had boiled over in a moment so raw that even her most cynical critics were forced to pause. Could it be that Robyn had been suffering too? Could it be that Kody had been so obsessed with loyalty, so drunk on the image of being the righteous head of household, that he had even alienated the one wife who had always fought for him? In the days following the on-camera breakdown, Robyn reportedly moved out temporarily, retreating to stay with a close friend from church who had offered her peace and perspective. Sources close to the situation claimed Robyn was contemplating everything: her future, her marriage, even her role in the show. She said she felt used. One insider shared that she was told she'd have a forever family, but ended up with all the blame and a broken house. Meanwhile, Kody isolated himself from the world. According to behind-the-scenes staff, he refused to respond to any TLC calls, didn't answer the door for his adult kids, and hadn't spoken to Robyn since the day she drove off. A producer who dropped off a revised filming schedule was met with a furious note taped to the door: "Do not film here again until I say so." But life was moving on without him. Christine and Janelle, privately exhausted but vindicated, agreed to meet in a coffee shop in Sedona, where they filmed a candid conversation that's already being teased as a groundbreaking sit-down for the upcoming season. The topic? Not just Kody's fight with Robyn, but the years of emotional toll they endured in silence. "I thought she was the favorite," Christine reportedly said in a teaser clip, but maybe she was just the last one who still had hope. Janelle nodded, adding, "And now she sees what we've been saying. Maybe now she sees him." And Mary? She surprised everyone. Days after the blowout, she went live on Instagram, laughing, smiling, sipping coffee on a patio in Utah. "Healing feels good," she said calmly, never once mentioning the fight, but the timing wasn't lost on fans. And what she posted in her caption was even more cryptic: "Truth always comes out, especially when the cameras are still rolling." Meanwhile, the Sister Wives fandom exploded. Reddit threads burned with theories. TikTok videos analyzed every frame of the fight. Was Kody hiding financial secrets? Was Robyn planning her own exit all along? Some fans speculated this was the beginning of Robyn's own spin-off, Robyn, rewriting her story, while others believed it was the beginning of the end. For the first time, even the most diehard fans questioned whether TLC should continue filming. One commenter wrote, "At this point, it feels like we're watching a tragedy unfold, not a family grow." Another added, "That wasn't drama. That was trauma." Back at Coyote Pass, the land that was supposed to bring the Browns together now stood as a symbol of all that had fallen apart. Survey stakes lay half-pulled from the ground. A broken folding chair sat tipped near a camera tripod, and Kody's truck remained parked under a sun-faded tarp like a forgotten relic. Robyn hadn't returned, and Kody hadn't left. The silence was louder than ever. But the cameras? They were still rolling, always. And somewhere in a TLC editing bay, the footage from that explosive argument, every shout, every tear, every devastating truth bomb, was being cut into an episode unlike any other. A moment that would go down in reality TV history. Not because of a drama, but because, for the first time in a long time, the world saw real truth on Sister Wives. The truth that no matter how much a family claims to be united by faith, love, or commitment, if there's no respect, everything eventually falls apart.